Fiverr has taken the internet by storm. There's really no other way to say it. This little freelancing platform that could has totally transformed people's expectations of getting and providing freelance services through an online exchange format. It seems that Fiverr has solved the two most common problems freelance platforms have historically struggled with. Fiverr not only offers a ton of services from a wide range of eager providers from all over the world, but it is also able to pull in lots of buyers. When you put these two factors together, it is no surprise that Fiverr has become the go-to freelance service destination on the internet. Also, given its low-cost profile compared to other free-form or custom-order freelance resources, Fiverr stands to continue to attract a lot of buyer attention. Let's get one thing clear. You can have a platform filled to the brim with sellers. Unfortunately, your platform is probably not going to succeed unless you also get a lot of buyers. Buyers make the platform successful. Fiverr has managed to do this.
Fiverr's secret. The secret to Fiverr's success is to enable people to post whatever services they may have, ranging from graphics design to writing to virtual assistant services to video spokesperson services and others for a flat fee. Originally, this was set at $5. This explains the name Fiverr. But as customers' needs have changed and the market evolved, Fiverr now allows service providers to charge the price they're most comfortable with. Compared to traditional freelancing, Fiverr removes a lot of doubt and guesswork from the freelance process. When you go to places like Freelancer or Upwork, you basically see a listing of somebody who needs work done. As a potential freelance contractor, you send in your bid. It's anybody's guess whether your bid will get accepted or not. Fiverr flips that model on its head. Instead of customers posting their requirements as well as their budget range, service providers provide a description of the service that they would do as well as samples of their work. Most importantly, providers are required to put a fixed price on their service. Whether they are charging $5 or $500, it doesn't really matter. They have to provide a fixed price. This has taken much of the uncertainty and guesswork out of the process. It is no surprise that Fiverr continues to grow.
Use Fiverr services to build your own assets. Instead of reselling service providers' work on Fiverr, use them on yourself to create assets like Kindle books or your very own blog network. You then buy other Fiverr services like traffic services to enable you to make money from the assets other providers have built for you. Advantages. The first advantage that you get using the system is that you buy cheap but proven services to create assets. The assets that you get are things that you can build once but make money from many times over. For example, take the case of a book. You can find a wide range of Kindle book cover designers, authors, and editors on Fiverr. After you've gotten their work and you've published the book on the Kindle self-publishing platform, you can make quite a bit of money over the life of a book. You only paid for the work to get published once, but the potential for earning is phenomenal because you can earn many times over from that same asset. The second advantage that you get is that you get to tap a wide selection of service providers. You have to remember that the quality of the asset that you build through Fiverr is completely dependent on the competence and quality of the service provider. Since you have a lot of selection on Fiverr, it's possible to pay very little while getting very high quality. I'm not saying that you should get your hopes up, but this is a possibility with Fiverr because they also have a lot of sophisticated filtration tools. You can quickly identify providers that charge very little but have a track record of delivering solid results. Do business with those people. Cost control is a key advantage to all of this. If you don't take anything from this section, please understand that when you're using Fiverr services to create assets that you control and own, you control your costs. By insisting on finding the very best service providers for the lowest prices, you can crank out a tremendous amount of assets. Now, this doesn't mean that all of them will be runaway hits. In fact, the vast majority of them might fail. But if you have enough assets out there, enough of them might generate cash, and these trickles or tiny streams of income can combine soon enough into a nice river of monthly income. Not too shabby. Finally, given the huge selection of service providers on Fiverr, you can easily scale up your operations. You can actually get many books written at the same time. It's not unusual for Kindle publishers to become overnight big-time publishers by having hundreds of books published within a year. That's all doable if you connect with the right service providers on Fiverr. Disadvantages. I know you're excited. After all, with Fiverr's sophisticated filtration technology, you can find people who charge very little money but produce world-quality work. Sounds awesome, right? Unfortunately, you're not the only person looking for that type of provider. In fact, there's a long line of people looking for that type of contractor. What happens then is that it becomes very hard to find these people. You can still get them at very affordable rates, but you may have to wait in line, assuming that they're available at all. Another drawback is that the best providers usually are doing it out of love. I remember when I first started out at writing, I advertised on Fiverr. I was getting a lot of work producing 1,000 words for $5. Well, as you know, after you take out Fiverr's fees, that $5 shrinks to $4. If you take out PayPal's fees, that $4 gets even smaller. However, I was willing to work that rate because, first of all, I love to write. Second, I know that I am learning, so I'm willing to pay my dues. Third, I want to get a nice flow of work so I can see if I can get used to that volume. I got all three. Now that I found out what I needed to learn, I have graduated from Fiverr. I no longer offer live gigs there. The vast majority of service providers on Fiverr now who offer writing services are from places like Nigeria, Bangladesh, and Pakistan. It's not unusual to find somebody to write 1,000 words for $5. In fact, some offer more than that. We're talking 2,000 words for $5. Depending on what your objectives are, this is too little money. Seriously. Don't be surprised if you're working 12 hours for only $4. Not exactly a fun time. I share this with you because the best providers sooner or later realize this. This doesn't mean that they'll all quit the platform. Some may still be available, but only for very little engagements. They can only take so much work because they have a day job. Others simply take a long break and they come back if they desperately need the money. Understand that this happens. This is why it's really a good idea to have a huge backup list. Never ever assume that that amazing writer that you keep going back to again and again will eagerly take your projects over and over. They might have grabbed the clue. They might have better things to do, so have a backup list. Finally, even if you have identified the very best service provider for your type of asset on Fiverr, don't expect consistent quality. People do have a bad time. People may be in a hurry. People may be going through a bad breakup or divorce. All sorts of things can be happening in the background. Be aware of this, be at peace with this, and make provisions for this happening. Step-by-step directions. Step number 1, pick your niche. I don't care whether you're publishing Kindle books or offering online courses or blogging. You need to be in the right niche. Otherwise, you're not going to make much money. Seriously, it really all boils down to demand. If you think you've come up with content that's the best thing since sliced bread, but nobody wants to read it or bother with it, then you're not going to make much money, so zero in on the right niche. Step number 2, get best-of-breed services. You may have to spend quite a bit of cash trying to figure out which people actually know what they're doing. Go through that process. Step number 3, fine-tune the assets. Now that you've a good idea of which person produces the best asset, fine-tune the process. Try to come up with the optimal way for them to produce high-quality work each and every time. Step number 4, scale up results. Now, figure out what is working for you, fix any problems, and then scale it up. If the service provider writing books for you can accommodate 10 books a week, then go for it. Assuming that there's no slippage in quality, go for it. Scale up your results because the more assets you have out there, the more streams of revenue they generate. These streams of revenue do add up.
After having a rough idea on Fiverr and how it works, you may start to think, what if I have too much traffic and I can't cope with them? What if I do not have enough time to finish the work? Is there any way for me to earn money but at the same time save my effort so that I don't have to work like a dog but still get my income? I can tell you, yes, there is a way for you to save your time and effort without cutting away from your income. The answer is brokering. So, who is a broker? What is brokering and how does it help? A broker is a go-between in making relationships. For example, a marriage broker. Otherwise, a broker is commonly known as the third party to a transaction providing a service to one of the parties, whereby the client could do the particular service by themselves but chooses not to. Thus, the broker mobilizes resources to facilitate exchange and action on the ground. Brokers establish a tenuous relationship with a large number of carriers. It is a marketing tool which acts as facilitators, middlemen, and matchmakers, the latter being the most common service. Now, how do you become a successful Fiverr broker who can earn a lot with minimum effort? There are several things to focus on before you become a successful Fiverr broker. Let me guide you through this ebook. First of all, identifying your need is a very important part. You don't want to extend your traffic in too many fields. Observe the marketplace and look for a niche that you can slip into. The biggest need will be in an area where the supply and demand structure is sluggish or does not otherwise satisfy the consumers and suppliers. Here, consumers equate to your client while suppliers are the outsource you find to provide the service for you. Services or specialty products are usually easier industries to break into as new middlemen. You must not stretch yourself too thin and be specific in one type of product or service. For example, if you are talented in graphic design, you can choose to reach out to people who are in need of specialization in this field, both consumers and suppliers. Prevent yourself from being obsolete by diversifying the sources and specifics of the overall product or service you're specializing in. Secondly, you will need to set up your own business. When you work as an independent middleman, you'll be establishing your own business. You will need to research on any restrictions involved and what kind of service you want to provide. Of course, by setting up your own business, you will need your traffic to flow in, which I will teach you later on. After getting your business and needs checked, it is time for you to research on your potential consumers and suppliers. Determine who the consumers of your chosen product or service are. It will depend on the nature of your intended business. Like I have mentioned above, you need to be specific and find your niche. Quality comes first before quantity. The quality of the service you provide to consumers must be top-notch, and the quality of the overall experience you offer to both suppliers and consumers must be of a high grade too. You can maximize success by becoming the person whom your consumers and suppliers turn to for a better experience. Of course, you will want your consumers to be satisfied with your job so that they will become loyal to you. Naturally, you'll be highly rated if you provide customer satisfaction, and highly rated services attract more traffic. This is actually a direct proportional act which will affect each other. Next, find as many potential suppliers for your chosen product or service as possible. Do your research on each one and narrow down the possibilities to the top 10. This is to ensure the returned work will be in good quality, which makes finding the right suppliers an important task to do. Furthermore, it is generally safer to work with multiple suppliers instead of a single source, regardless of the product or service you work with. Your business will go under as soon as your supplier decides to stop working with you, if you only have one supplier for your service. Moving on, you may ask for a quote. Contact your potential consumers and ask them to give their price quote on a certain quantity of product or quality of service. For example, you may request for an add-on with every extra 100 words written, or any extra colors for a logo design. But remember, add-ons must be reasonable or else you might scare them off. Negotiate with them so that you both can have the best price given. But of course, the needs and quotes of every single consumer may vary in different ways. Next, you can add your cuts to the cost. This is because you will earn money being a middleman by earning a certain commission from each sale you make. The exact amount can vary. It is based on how much your consumer offers and how much you offer to your suppliers. For example, your consumer offers you 10 USD for every 200 words for the content. You outsource this job to your supplier, ask for 2,000 words for the content, and offer a total of 30 USD. 2,000 words are equivalent to 100 USD. Which means you have earned a total of 70 USD with the least effort. After the product is returned to you from the supplier, you may proceed to pass the information to your consumer. Listening to your consumer's feedback is also an important note to take. This is because you need to understand what your consumer really wants for their service and whether the service that your supplier gives to you matches the expectations of your consumer. The idea you have in your head may not be the best course of action. It is always good to have an open mind and be flexible to any idea provided. Observe both sides of your business carefully to determine how well your current process works and where you might need to improve. You may even consider asking the parties you work with to rate the experience or answer a few survey questions about it. Also, you have to stay responsive to both your consumers and suppliers. Make yourself easy to reach by giving out your contact number, social media accounts, or email. This is so that if there are any questions from any side, you will be able to respond quickly and clear their doubts. It is a win-win situation whereby you will gain a good reputation among your consumers and suppliers, and at the same time, get your own profits earned. So finally, why brokering? This is because it helps you to earn easy money. Who doesn't want to earn money with the least effort spent? Of course, I wouldn't say there's no effort spent because you will still need to generate your traffic to your account and optimize your profile in order to gain population. But you can lay back and see the money go into your account after that. Brokering also helps you to save time. After you have outsourced most of your work to your suppliers, they are the ones who will be busy. As for you, you may take your own sweet time and save on legwork. You see, just by taking some extra actions, you can make your life so much easier. You don't have to work like a dog to earn your income. Working smart is more efficient than working hard and will double up your saved time and work. So why hesitate? Let me show you how to be a successful Fiverr broker in no time. We all know that you need a resume when you apply for a job or go for an interview. Your Fiverr profile works just like your resume when you don't just say a few words about yourself. Think about it. Before committing to a company, you will probably research their background, company history, and reviews. Trust me, Fiverr buyers act just like that too. On Fiverr, the first thing most buyers will do before they click the purchase button is to check out your seller profile. So your Fiverr profile is where you make your first impression on your buyers. By reading your profile, buyers will be able to understand you, know your background and experience, and most importantly, you can gain their trust. Believe me, your customers' trust is worth more than anything. Remember that your Fiverr profile is a part of you, so it's important that buyers get a real sense of who you are and what matters to you. Your profile will be an expression of your passion on what you are into and what you are capable of. With a groomed Fiverr profile, you can even build up a good reputation amongst your customers, which leads to higher rating profiles. There are a few ways to optimize your profile, so are you ready for this section? Get yourself ready and let's go. When a person sees something, that person relates to the picture or color first, followed by words and texts. So a proper profile picture is essential for your Fiverr profile. The first step is choosing a picture that conveys the value you want to show. Choosing an image of an object, an animal, or anything else that isn't you doesn't help. It looks like you're trying to be anonymous, which is something that doesn't increase trust. As I've said earlier, your customer's trust is gold. For your profile picture, you do not have to put on airs to look cool. Just be comfortable about who you really are. Let me give you a situation. If a person you don't know added you on any of your social media accounts with a profile picture of an animal, would you accept their request? It is highly unlikely that you would. Same goes with your customer. After all, your customer doesn't choose you because of the way you look. It is what is inside you that matters the most. You don't want to be an empty can that makes the most noise. To make customers take notice of you, your profile description comes in handy. This is because it helps to cement your customer's first impression on you in a space of 2 tweets. You will need to be genuine when you are writing your background and experiences. Don't be biased. Stay honest and make your description short and sweet. Being dishonest on your profile description will never help and may bring negative reviews instead if found out. The next thing you need to take note on will be your vocabulary, grammar, spelling, and punctuation. All these are important because they create a professional appearance. Your customers may not be a grammar expert, but they would definitely know a poorly written article when they see it. Keep this in mind. Fiverr is a marketplace created predominantly for English-speaking customers, so the odds are stacked against non-native speakers. Hence, it's time to brush up on your grammar. All customers will not reject a fast delivery. Every customer wants to be your first priority and hopes that you get things done as quickly as possible. If you're not able to deliver quickly, try not to delay. It will be a big turn-off to your customer and it lowers your customer's trust. However, you can always set your standard delivery days. For example, if your standard delivery day is 4 days, you may offer your customer an extra fast delivery, which is 2 days. But you need to know your limit and not overexert yourself. Positive reviews are the key to attracting more customers. Good reviews build confidence and make customers more likely to buy from you. People are more likely to trust highly rated products in general. Thus, you may need to do everything possible to take care of your customers and earn their 100% affirmation and 5-star reviews. Not to worry, I will teach you on how to get 5-star ratings in the next chapter. By the way, do not buy reviews or create fake reviews. If your work is not outstanding, customers will see through the fake reviews and figure out that you're padding your own gigs. In this case, not only do you lose your customers' trust, you also lose your special ranking if you are a new seller on Fiverr. No matter how small an amount $5 has become in today's world, it is still something we do not want to risk as a bad experience. It is better if you and your customer achieve a mutual understanding on the issue of refunding. For example, if you cannot make your order right, promise your customer that you will fully refund the amount back. A mutual cancellation can be done peacefully with the right attitude. It is normal for people to get really sensitive when it comes to money issues. Customers tend to get cranky when their orders fail to reach their expectations after spending a certain amount of money to get their work done. You will get complaints and negative reviews that touch on money issues. When this occurs in your profile, your reputation and the effort you put in could be discarded in a flash. To get more people to be aware about your profile, you can create content with a blog post. Use social media accounts like Facebook or Twitter to share. If you don't have the time to create content or don't have the motivation to do so, you can always post tweets with your links for informative and interesting articles related to your service. Use helpful software like Buffer to schedule your tweets to your posts in advance so that you won't have to keep posting in order to grab attention. But take note, continuous self-promotion will only irritate people and cause them to unfollow you. Hence, in order to grab people's attention, you might want to craft some good tweets with attractive images. As I've mentioned above, people look at the colors first. Long texts or content will only bore them. The time will inevitably come when there may be something wrong with one of your gigs, or you're having a problem with your account, or a buyer leaves a completely unfounded negative review, or something awful happens that can only be solved by Fiverr's customer support department. Attitude is important. You don't want to be rude to them as they are your lifelines. Last but not least, do not be a copycat. It is very important for you to know this. Do not copy even if you are desperate for great gigs to boost your profile. Copying is rude and dishonest. If you do so, you're stealing others' ideas to make your own profits. If the original seller finds out about this, they can launch a report against you. By getting reported from the original seller, not only will your gig get taken down, your entire account could get closed down too. So it is very important that you do not copy. In order to maintain yourself as the top seller list on Fiverr, getting a 5-star rating for your profile is essential. You'll get more features from Fiverr when you receive the status of top-rated seller. By this, the chances of getting your gigs featured by Fiverr will become higher as well. This is why you need to be dedicated to your job and do your best in keeping your customers satisfied. Getting a 3-star rating will not be adequate. Get yourself at least a 4-star rating from each buyer you serve. As a seller, you would not want to miss out on this module on how to get and maintain 5-star ratings in Fiverr. Without further ado, let's get into it. As a seller on Fiverr, it is always great to have 5 stars or 100% ratings on your account. Not only does this help you get more sales, it also makes you an authority in your niche. If being a top-rated seller is your goal, it is also important to achieve your full 5-star rating. If you want a 100% positive rating on your account, you will of course need to give 100% of effort in doing your job. That's what every buyer wants, right? If I put you in the same situation, you would want your sellers to do their best too. The definition of a good quality job may vary from time to time because it depends on your customer's expectations. However, it is a must for you to reach your customer's expectations or even exceed it. Who doesn't want a better job done? A basic but important thing to remember is that you need to follow up on the order. It is important so that you can avoid delivering inadequate work. For example, if you're writing content, proofread your grammar and spelling to avoid mistakes. If you're designing a graphic or a logo, avoid putting the wrong color or sketch, which is different from what your buyer wants. Up next is to be punctual when delivering your job. Do not delay. Be determined when completing your responsibilities. Your buyer is paying you for your product, and you are not doing this for free or for charity. In regards to responsibilities, you wouldn't want the same thing to happen to you if you're the buyer. If you're having some problems in your process, reach out to the buyer and politely explain to them that their order would be delivered late. Customers are usually understanding if you provide clear and polite explanations. Sometimes your buyer might want to know more about what you can provide before they get in touch with you. Thus, adding details to your description will make it easier for them to understand, so that they will have a rough idea on what you're capable of before making their decision. Check this example of a description out. If you want a simple yet elegant logo, you can apply here. You'll get the following services, each for $5. Important: discuss the font before placing an order. High quality design from a low quality logo. Vector designing. Redesigning basic logos from a previously designed logo. Extra charges on complex designs discussed before placing an order. Editing a logo. Adding or changing text. I do not draw or redraw human faces. If you have any issues or complaints, please do not leave a bad review. Instead, kindly message me so we can work things out. This also prevents misunderstandings between you and your buyer. If a misunderstanding occurs, you must always ask them to refer back to your description as solid proof instead of you debating with your buyer to defend yourself. Misunderstandings may create bad feelings and cause a higher possibility to lower down your rating. One word of advice: be responsible when doing your job. Do not treat this as freelance work. When you have the mentality that $5 jobs are not worth investing time and effort, you will not be able to deliver good quality work. Always think of this as an opportunity to improve your work. If you manage to keep this up, you can keep them as your long-term customers. People will always come back to you for your service if they have had good experiences dealing with you. Do not deliver the work if you're not satisfied with it. This is the key to delivering good quality work. Set your standards slightly higher so that if you are satisfied with the end result of your work, your client is going to love it even more. Another thing is not to go offline for a long period of time without checking your orders. If you're going to be away for some time, for example, going on vacation or attending a wedding, put your gig on vacation mode. But be sure to complete any job at hand or explain to the buyers that you would not be able to complete the job during that period. 5-star ratings will not only make your profile look good and give you the traffic you want, but also separate you from the average seller. After being separated from the average seller, buyers will have a clearer picture on who you are. You must aim to stand out amongst all other sellers in order to make more money. Buyers will be more willing to pay more if you're a 5-star rating seller. Believe me, 5-star ratings are much more trustworthy. There are a few methods to maintain 5-star ratings. If you know the game well enough, you'll understand the points that I'm going to say. Do whatever which is requested of you from the buyer, even if that means spending a few more hours on it. Run your Fiverr gig like you would run a business. Be courteous, and remember that the customer is always your biggest priority. Don't be afraid to over-deliver. Over-delivering doesn't mean that you're doing charity. It is a marketing technique that would make your buyer happy. Let's assume you promised 200 words but delivered 280 words instead. Who wouldn't be happy about a free bonus, right? You must understand that building up a relationship with your buyer is the only long-term solution to get them to come back to your service. The only way to build up a relationship with your potential customer is through the conversation with them. Thus, get to know your buyer well, and you can even refer to them by their first name. In fact, always name them first before you move on to your content. Even though it may seem insignificant, attitude makes a huge impact towards your job and yourself. You may be wondering how others earn up to hundreds or thousands of revenue just by offering services on Fiverr, if it is just worth $5 for every service. However, if you have already been in the Fiverr business for long, you would know the secret. Yes, it's through stacking up on gig extras. Gig extras are the main source of income. In marketing terms, the $5 work can be said to be the front-end product that you offer to attract potential customers. Once they get into your offer page, they will see the upsells, which are the gig extras on Fiverr. That being said, gig extras increase the revenue for one gig. Like I said, a gig extra allows you to earn more than $5 for one gig in Fiverr. You are creating your own sales funnel in Fiverr when you create gig extras for your gig. Through the sales funnel you've created, you do not need to send more traffic to the same place. By just offering the gig extras, you can generate larger profits with the same amount of traffic. Gig extras are the additional services that you can offer them on top of the gig for an additional price defined by the sellers. For instance, if you offer a 3-minute voiceover with $5, the gig extras that you can put here is an extra $10 for syncing the voiceover to the video. The prices for gig extras are all up to you, but take note of this: the gig extras that you offer must be congruent to your gig, and the price must be fair. Other than knowing why you should offer gig extras on Fiverr, one thing you need to take note of is the different Fiverr levels. You will get to offer more gig extras as you advance up each higher level. When you first get started on Fiverr, you'll be complimented with 2 gig extras by Fiverr. Meaning to say, other than the first gig of $5, you can add up to 2 gig extras with prices up to $20 each. Moving forward, if you are a level 1 seller, you will have the privilege to add up to 4 gig extras with prices up to $40. When you're given the status of a level 2 seller, which is also called the Pro League, you'll be given 5 gig extras up to $50 for each gig extra. When you have reached the top level, which is the top rated seller, you'll be given 6 gig extras up to $100 for 1 gig extra. This is the benefit that is exclusively offered to the top rated sellers. They could earn up to at least $600 for just 1 gig. And this is why sellers put in all effort to make their way through to achieve the top rated seller status. The higher the level, the more benefits you'll have. The more gig extras you create, the more revenue you can generate in 1 gig. Imagine if you could earn up to $300 a gig, and you have 10 gigs in queue. Hence, you'll earn about $3,000 a month. And this may be the least you can generate, as it could be more. And when you have more gigs on hand, you can generate more revenue than before, which you can then choose to outsource some or even all the gigs to freelancers. It will be more efficient to buy someone else's time to work for you. When you increase the revenue, the margin that you can offer to your freelancers would be higher too. Moving on, you increase the variety of your services when you increase the offer of gig extras. You offer a package of services to ease the work of your buyers. People always look for a place where someone could do everything for them. Offering gig extras is a great way to understand what your customers need. After some time, you can design a package of services and put it up as the custom offer for your customers. When people click on the custom offer, it will automatically pick on all the gig extras for them. Think of it as setting up a favorite order for them. Here's a small tip for you. You can set the price to be slightly lower than usual when offering them the custom offer. This would ease your customers' work as well as increase the purchase rate. On Fiverr, the procedure of being the middleman, in other words, brokering, can be complicated if you're not familiar with the system. From communicating and getting information from the customers, looking for and dealing with freelancers, to the delivering of work, it would be a big problem if you do not know the right way of doing this. In this video, I'll teach you about the brokering system and lead you step by step through the whole procedure. Without further ado, let's get started. Step 1. Connect with the client. This would be the most important part amongst all the other steps. Connecting with the client and understanding their needs are the keys to success, so communication with the client is essential. Throughout the conversation, get as much information as you can to understand clients' needs. The key point here is to be specific. Quality work can only be delivered when you can achieve what your clients want. If needed, collect the necessary files to be sent to the freelancers. Once you have obtained the information from your client, list them down and state the prices for each gig. Send them the custom offer according to their requirements. However, remember that they might not take up the offer if the price is too expensive. But once they've accepted the offer and made the payment, you can then proceed to the next step. Step 2 is to look for the freelancer. If you've already been in the business for some time, you would have already built up some connections with freelancers. Send the request from the client to Freelancer. Take note before sending the request to rearrange the details of the gig. If there are special requirements from the client, list them as special remarks. Always remember to be specific on the request of the client when you convey the message to your freelancer. When both of you have made a mutual agreement on the work, set a timeline due. Set the date at least 30 days before the actual delivery date to your client. This is to ensure that there is still a period of time for you to make changes to refine the work. For example, if you are requested to deliver the job within a week, give your freelancer 4 to 5 days to complete the job. After dealing with the freelancers, you can now spare some time to connect with other clients or other jobs. However, note that you will have to keep track of the work progress. According to how you've dealt with your client, the date of delivery is already set. You can't afford to deliver it later than the date because this would definitely leave a bad impression on your clients. So be sure to keep in touch with the freelancer to check on the work progress. You must also be wise in choosing the right timing. Knowing the progress of the work is important, but you must also know when to look for the freelancer. Depending on the duration for delivery, you will need to set your timing. For instance, if the duration of delivery is within a week, you can contact the freelancer every once in 2 days. This is to make sure that the work is up to standard, as well as to keep both of you up to the timeline. Like I have mentioned earlier, get the work from the freelancer at least 3 days before the delivery date to do a final check on the work. Delivering good quality work is the key to keeping your clients happy. Therefore, to ensure the quality of work is up to standard, get the work earlier from the freelancer to avoid last-minute changes. When you are checking on the quality of work, always take the client's requirements into account. The quality of the work is based on the requirements from clients. It is neither up to you nor the freelancer to decide. Thus, check the work based on the information provided by your client. If needed, request for final revision of the work. Lastly, deliver the work to your client. Once you've gotten the entire work from your freelancer, compile them and save it in zip file if needed. Double or even triple check the work. A small tip here: create a checklist. For example, if you are requested to create a logo and have to save it in different formats, list them down on a paper. Check on the files and make sure you have all the formats in the folder. A checklist will ease your work on this. Finally, deliver it to your client. When you switch your role from a seller to a broker on Fiverr, you could free up your time because you can now outsource the job to freelancers. But this doesn't mean that you can stop working. Instead, fully utilize your time to generate traffic to your profile. No matter how cool or fabulous your gig is, you are not going to generate any sales if your profile is not visible to your potential clients. Thus, generating traffic to the profile becomes as important as delivering quality work. This is a time-consuming task, which requires a lot of effort. Hence, now that you have freed up your time by outsourcing the jobs to freelancers, you can focus on generating traffic to your profile. You have to get the word out about your gig and give them a reason to visit your profile. The first way of doing it is by spreading the news on social media platforms. As you already know, social media platforms can be a powerful tool nowadays. The news can be spread on the media like a contagious virus within hours. Start with creating your own fan page and promote your gigs on social media platforms. This would be the fastest and cheapest way. The cost for doing this can be said to be near to zero, as you do not need to pay anything for people to see it. Other than just promoting your gig through your fan page, join groups or forums that are related to Fiverr. Search for groups in Facebook. There are plenty of groups available. However, always look for active ones. If they are a closed group, request to join them. Once you have gotten the approval, start talking to the people there. Introduce yourself and start a conversation with the people there. Other than making the announcement of your gig over there, you can research on how other sellers promote their gig, especially the top-rated sellers in the group. Besides looking for opportunities on Facebook, you can post your status on Pinterest, Instagram, and YouTube as well. Though social media platforms can be a really powerful tool to promote your gigs and increase the traffic to your profile, one thing that you can't forget is the star ratings on Fiverr. Even though people may click on your link and go to your profile, if your star rating is not as good as other sellers, you may lose them forever. Thus, accumulating a massive number of positive feedback to maintain your rating is essential. It is recommended that you keep your profile rating as 4 or above out of the 5. Visitors evaluate sellers based on the star rating nowadays. They compare the star rating of sellers and pick the one with a higher rating. When your profile has a higher star rating and more positive feedback than negative feedback, visitors are more likely to choose you over the others. Another great way to generate traffic to your profile is by focusing your profile to a targeted niche. Unlike aiming for the general market, you are now focusing on just one market. Instead of getting everyone to see your profile, you need to be picky on your clients now. To do this, you will need to do a bit of optimization on your gig description. For instance, instead of using general keywords such as a logo and video, change it to a business logo or speed drawing video. When you use a gig description like this, you are at the same time narrowing down the market. If this sounds bad, it's actually not. When you're focusing on a targeted niche, visitors are more likely to get your profile in the search results when they are looking for specific services on Fiverr. Do some research on the hot keywords that visitors will usually search for on Fiverr, and then optimize your gig description with those keywords. This way, when visitors search for specific services, chances that your gig page appears in the homepage are higher. Aim for a focused niche and get quality clients on Fiverr. Last but not least, you can conduct your own advert campaigns on social media platforms such as Facebook and YouTube. If you own a Facebook fan page, you can run an advert campaign with it. Once you've created the campaign and set up the targeted group which you wish to show your ad, you could possibly get connected to the untapped users that you never knew would be interested in your service. Beyond Facebook, Twitter would be the largest social media platform people always hang out on. You can post your status and even create your own hashtag that will link to any of your social media profiles. If you have a video to promote your gig, you can upload it to YouTube and run an ad campaign for it. You may think running advert campaigns on Facebook and YouTube may incur huge costs, but the good news is you run everything under your control. You can set your own budget on how much you would spend for the campaign. I will not talk about how to set up your advert campaigns here because it's a totally different ballgame. Moving on, if you have your own website or even your own mailing list, do not hesitate to mail out your gig offer to them. According to research, 44% of email recipients make at least one purchase based on a promotional email. From this statistic, you can see that people actually open and make a purchase from promotional emails. If you already have a mailing list, do not hesitate to send them your offer. If you do not have one, it's time to start building one. You leave a lot of money behind without building up your own mailing list. You can send them the promotional emails whenever you have a new gig or new product to share with them. Now that you already have the knowledge on how to generate your traffic to your profile, do you know that finding a freelancer to work with you is something to learn too? As you know, there are loads of freelancers out there who are willing to work, but are they all qualified for you? This is an important question to ask because you don't want to hire them without knowing them. The quality of your freelancer is equal to the quality of your product at the end of the day. So, how can you approach your freelance to work for you with quality assured? Let's get started. Nowadays, people can't live without the internet and their social media account. They will keep browsing and scrolling through to kill time. As I've mentioned in the previous section, social media is a good engine for you to gain traffic as well as for you to recruit. For people who are more and more internet-oriented, it is easier for you to get what you want. You could filter your friends list according to your recruitment needs. Use filter software like Manage Filter to speed up your findings so you could double up your work. Also, there are groups and pages for freelance jobs on Facebook. Join them to see if there's any talent who matches your need, or you could post your need in the group to recruit your potential freelancers. In case you're not an active person on social media, there is another way to find potential freelancers, using freelancer websites. There are several sites for you to choose from. Examples are Agent Solo, All Freelance Work, and Upwork. You can filter them accordingly with your location, fields, and patterns. Find websites with responsive admins and freelancers. This is because if you encounter any problems, you will at least know who to turn to. Before you go into the website, make sure you understand their terms, policies, and conditions, especially on credit transferring and refunding issues. Establish a clear communication with the support and read their website policies before you start to use their freelancers. Now you have a picture on how to recruit your talents. It's time to determine your strategies on how to ensure your freelancer's quality. Allow me to ask you a few questions. If you're a buyer, how would you go about choosing a freelancer to work for you? What kind of products would you expect from your talent that you have hired? If you make a bad choice, it will affect the balance between you and your buyer, which creates bad feelings. I'm sure you know where bad feelings can lead your business to. Thus, to avoid all these from happening, you will need a good plan and some strategies before you get into the recruitment business. First, recruit wisely. You need to know who you are working with. Get to know your freelancer from their profile and description. If there is no description, try to look for their contact. Message them directly to ask for their background and experience, or try searching for their social media accounts. Did you know that you can see a person's character from their social media behavior? It is even better if the person shares their work in public on social media. You can then preview their job for free. For example, you chance upon a photographer who shares his work publicly on his Instagram account. You can direct message him from your Instagram if you're interested in his work. Just like your buyers choose you for your good reviews, you choose your talent with good reviews too. As I said earlier, who doesn't want to work with a better person? Collect all their profiles and reviews. You can narrow them down to 5 or 10 according to your business and how much you can manage. This is something that you can't rush through, so take it one step at a time. Read and determine their abilities carefully before you finally hire them. Furthermore, revising the work done is essential to you. Remember, you need to make sure the quality matches your buyer's expectation and also your own reputation. Otherwise, buyers may doubt your ability and also the reviews you get. This is why the talent you hire plays an important role in keeping you as a successful broker. You need to be strict on the quality. Despite telling your talent what it is your buyer needs, I would suggest you to revise the work done before delivering it to your buyer. It is always good to double and triple check to assure the quality and correct any mistakes. Since they have already done most of the work for you, there is nothing to lose in spending some time to double check their work. Also, by revising the work done, you're able to have a deeper understanding on which freelancer is worth to work with, and you may even consider a long-term buyer-seller relationship. In order to have time to revise their job, you will need to speed up the exchange. It is not just about the issue on checking, but also to avoid delayed deliveries to your own buyer. For example, you promise your buyer a 7-day period to complete your job, so you have to request a 5-day job done from your talent. Give yourself at least 2 days to review the job if you have a couple of businesses going on. Schedule yourself to check on the working process from time to time so that you can give some advice if the working process is slow, or if your talent meets some problems which he's not able to resolve himself. Do not hesitate to help your talent. A little help from you may mean a lot to them. It is not just about saving you from the hassle of late deliveries, but also to build up your reputation amongst them to earn their loyalty. Relying on freelancers and other third parties is a must when brokering in Fiverr. There are many issues which can arise from this. For instance, how can you determine that the person on the other end of the computer is honest in his or her dealings? There's no way to be 100% sure that everything will go smoothly because you will never know who the person is on the other end. Hence, the process of screening and filtering freelancers is unavoidable for a broker. It may be a time-consuming procedure, but once you get the connection with the freelancers, you can resume working with them if they have proven to provide quality service and work. Here are a few methods that will help keep you at ease. You're going to go through a series of filters before you decide to contact them. Without further ado, let's move on to the first level. First and foremost, you must pick the right place to post your offer. Use established marketplaces on the internet. The difference between non-established and established marketplaces is that established ones will keep only good quality freelancers. There is already a large pool of freelancers available in these established marketplaces. The following are a list of established marketplaces where you can find quality freelancers: Agent Solo, All Freelance Work, and Upwork. Many potential candidates will send you the link to their profile once you get your job posted. Read through the feedback they've gotten. Even though such information may not be able to show you exactly how reliable they are, but it does ease your work if you are hiring the freelancer for the first time. Filter the candidates by their ratings. After you've posted the job in the marketplace, you'll get a bunch of responses from freelancers hoping to get the job. Contacting them one by one would be time-consuming. To solve this problem, filter them according to their ratings. This would also help you to decrease the number of candidates. In general, there are two types of rating systems, which are the 10-point rating system and the 5-star rating system. If the marketplace that you use is using the 10-point rating system, make sure the freelancers have at least 8 points and above. If they're using the 5-star rating system, look for freelancers with at least 4 stars and above. The rating system runs this way. When their services are satisfying, their buyers will leave them positive ratings, which contributes to their overall rating. Thus, the higher the rating, the better the service they manage to provide. In this level, filter them out according to their ratings, then move on to the next step. The next method would be reading through the feedback and reviews in the profile. If you can, try to look for their profile on other platforms like Facebook. From their profiles, you can evaluate them better. From these networks alone, you may not be able to get in-depth details of their work habits, but you will be able to know their general online behavior through the content they share online. It would be a good reference for you to understand the freelancers better. However, if you're not up to looking up for their profile on other platforms, you can go to their profile in the marketplace. When you are on their profile page, scroll down to look for reviews and feedback from their former buyers. Read the reviews and feedback in their profile. It is acceptable to have a few negative reviews or feedback because there are always difficult clients that have requirements which are nearly impossible to fulfill. However, read through the comments and take note of it. Here's a side note for you. Like I mentioned, it is acceptable to have a few negative feedback, but make sure that there is at least 90% of positive feedback from the buyers. By this stage, you should be left with just a few candidates that you would like to start a conversation with. The rest can be the backup. Start a conversation with each of them, as you can evaluate their character throughout the conversation. First things first, you can evaluate them by how they reply to your request. For instance, you can assess someone in terms of how long they take to respond to your request. This way, you will know how fast they will get back to you when you contact them in the future. From the way they respond to your request, you will get to evaluate their professional working attitude in handling the work you pass to them. If needed, you may get their email address in case of any emergencies. In some instances, the marketplace server may be down or hacked. If so, you will have a second method to communicate with them. Finally, ask for their portfolio as a reference to evaluate their work. This can be said to be an essential part. Evaluating the portfolio would be the final factor that you will need to walk through before agreeing to use their work and offering them the job. You should not accept their service before getting to see their past work. Regardless of anything else, the capability to provide quality work is the utmost important factor that you must put priority on when it comes to screening for freelancers. Whether they can perform well or not is not depending on the way they speak, but on their actions. Therefore, other than evaluating the way they handle work, you will need to evaluate the work from them. This is to ensure that you can provide the best service to your clients as well. Let's assume you are a broker on Fiverr. Other than screening and filtering freelancers, pricing your offer to the freelancer is always a complicated issue, especially when you are new to the system. To set a price of your job offer from the earnings on Fiverr would be a big question mark for some. There is no 100% guarantee that you'll get a perfect freelancer all the time, so dealing with a difficult freelancer is unavoidable sometimes. As you may already know, negotiating with difficult freelancers is not an easy task and requires certain techniques. You need to think in terms of how a freelancer would think when you're setting up the prices for them, such as factors that will affect whether they will take up the offer or not. The cost plus factor comes first. When you can offer a price that is worth more than what they will need to do, it makes an irresistible offer to grab. The market price is the next factor. You must not offer a price that is too different from the market price. You may not know how to start researching on the market price if you have just begun. Here's what you can do. Visit all the other marketplaces. search for keywords, and mark down the prices offered by the other sellers. For instance, if you're looking for a graphic designer to draw a logo for you, look for the keyword logo design in the marketplace. From here, you can see how much people usually offer to the freelancers. Moving on, the third factor is value-driven. This is once again a factor that is related to the first factor, the cost plus factor. Regardless whether you are a buyer or seller, people always look for the value. What's in it for me is the first question that will pop up in our minds. As a seller, you must be able to show them the value. Cost plus factor plays a vital role in the brokering system. When a gig is not profitable, freelancers are more than likely to turn down the offer. They accept gigs based on the offers that can earn more than what they will need to do. This includes the time that will be needed to invest, and whether the time they invest to work on your job is worth the price or not. If they could have worked for another gig with the same amount of time but with a higher pay, they will definitely go for the second offer. To calculate the cost plus for a gig is relatively easy. All you will need is the unit cost and the desired profit margin. For instance, if the wages for a workday is $15, to finish the whole project will need at least 1 week. Hence, the unit cost will be 30 times 7, which equals to $105. So, if the gig doesn't offer more than $105, freelancers are more likely to put your gig offer as their last option. Leveraging market rates is solely based on the marketplaces in which you are offering your gig, where you look at the marketplaces and the prices of other gigs to identify what costs others are offering and make decisions based on that. You can do some research on the other gig prices offered by other sellers in the marketplace, especially about the gigs in the same field. Once you have the information needed, set a price that does not run too far away from the margin. It can be slightly higher or lower than the others. Try to find a balance between that which can satisfy both your financial budget and the cost plus of the freelancers. It is not an easy task to set the price to be win-win all the time, but always remember to refer to the market price. The market prices in comparison to international freelancers may vary. That said, if you're using international marketplaces, you will need to understand the local and international market. Last but not least, freelancers are value-driven. Like I've said, this is a factor that goes together with the cost plus factor. People will always look for a gig that can profit them. Even if they've decided to take up the offer that does not profit them, they will work equivalent to the price you've offered. That said, the lower the price, the lower the quality of work they will deliver to you. Thus, always ask for further information from freelancers. For instance, a standard voiceover costs $100. But if you want it to be synced with a video, it'll be another $50. You can ask the freelancers to send you a custom offer with all the gigs listed out with prices, like how Fiverr is doing now. This way, you will know what you've paid for, as well as collect references for future use. Be prepared to negotiate with freelancers. They may be difficult sometimes, but you as a seller must stand firm on your point of view as well. If the price they ask for is not favorable as well as unprofitable, do not be afraid to turn down the offer from the freelancer. The price structures can work 3 ways, which are calculated by hourly rates, daily, monthly rates, and project-based rates. Hourly rates and daily or monthly rates are usually for sellers who like to hire for long term. If you are not keen on running around looking for freelancers every single time you receive orders from your clients, you can look for someone who is willing to work long term. There are, of course, also cons if you're hiring them for long term. You will never get to know the person that works from you. That being said, you will not know what happens if he or she is missing in action. In case of emergency, you wouldn't know how to contact them other than through emails. The ideal price structure will be project-based, which you'll pay them once per project. This way, you do not need to worry about the issue of commitment. You can always go back to the same freelancers if you find the job they completed has achieved most of the positive feedback from your clients. Here are some tips for you when you're drafting the price of your gig for freelancers. First of all, you need to know the minimum acceptable rate of the freelancers and not offer a gig lower than that. And then, as a broker on Fiverr, you should pay your freelancers from the earnings you receive from the client. Calculate your own profits in between after you pay the freelancer. If the return on investment is low, discard the request. When the ROI is low or even negative, it's said that the job isn't profitable.
The good news, you can make money off Fiverr too. In fact, Fiverr has many testimonials of people claiming that their income on this platform has replaced their regular job's income and then some. In fact, a lot of people happily announce that they've quit their day jobs and are doing voiceovers full time. There's even one person who travels all over the world and is sustained 100% by his income from Fiverr. That's how lucrative this micro freelancing platform can be. But there's a big warning sign. You have to be careful about using Fiverr the right way. While it's very easy to get excited about these success stories, and believe me, they resonate on so many levels. Who wouldn't want to own their time? Who wouldn't want to work on their own terms? Who wouldn't want to cherry pick the projects that they get? The big problem is, if you don't know what you're doing or if you don't have a strategy, you end up wasting time and, yes, money in the form of opportunity costs. Think about it. If you are spending your time doing work for people for $10 when it turns out that you could have been working for $50, you are actually losing money. Now, this is different from a situation where you have spare time and you're simply trying to turn your spare time into spare cash. In that case, this would be okay. This is especially true if you're training yourself by taking on these jobs so you can level up in the future. But if you are looking to earn a full-time income, you have to learn how to use Fiverr the right way. This training teaches you 6 better ways to make money off Fiverr. Make no mistake, offering high-value and time-intensive services for $5 is not one of them.
After you have gotten everything on track and start to deal with diverse clients and freelancers, this is the time where you may feel challenged. Even though this means you actually own a great business and you're doing things right, you still need to be prepared for whatever future you are heading to. The more people you cope with, the more difficulties are faced. There are many different types of personalities that you'll encounter, and you will need to make yourself flexible enough to bear with them. Managing your freelancers is not an easy task, especially when dealing with those difficult ones. Do not ever underestimate this. I will share with you the issues you may face and the solutions to these problems. It is essential to determine how your freelancer works. There are a lot of what-ifs to be foreseen. For example, what if he or she is a draggy person? What if they take it slow and complete their work at the very last minute? This is why scheduling is helpful for the work to be done. You need to set up a strict time phase or deadline for your freelancers and let them know that you're very precise about time. You can even contact them a day before the deadline just to check in on their progress. Write an email or message them. It is even better if they are okay with a local phone call. If your freelancers are not based locally, an email and a message would be good. Remember, a little rushing won't hurt, but you will need to take note of your tone in both writing and talking. Rushing is not threatening. It is your right to rush, but threatening people will only scare them off and set a bad reputation for yourself. Furthermore, there is a situation where your freelancer is not satisfied with the amount of money you pay. Trust me, it happens. So in this case, what should you do? First, establish a friendly negotiation. You do not want to push yourself to a dead end by insisting on your initial pay. Try to bargain with them and work things out together. If you feel uncertain on giving extra pay to people you don't know well, you can promise a bonus if they are able to finish their work on time with splendid quality. In this situation, no one loses. Of course, you can always call off a deal if you are not comfortable or if you think your freelancer is asking too much from you. Settle for a mutual cancellation and find another freelancer who's willing to work for you with your pay. If the majority of your freelancers raise up the payment issue, then it is time for you to readjust the pay you offer. Try not to think of how much you have to lose, but of the loyalty that you've earned. If a little increase in pay gets you loyal freelancers, don't you think it's a good way to go? All right, enough on difficult freelancers. Did you know some barriers can only be resolved by yourself? This kind of barrier is far more difficult to deal with because you are struggling with your own will. There will be the time when you need to let go of something in order to achieve your success. Let's get you prepared. Your biggest challenge will be time management. This happens when you have too much traffic at the same time. Great business comes with a price, and time will be your price. This is where you will need to be flexible and keep your mind clear. Communicate with your buyers and also outsource your work systematically to your freelancers. The important thing is not to be frightened by the jam. It is actually a good sign, but you will need to have a clear head to handle this. Also, do not be afraid to say no to your buyers if you really can't afford the traffic. Being honest to your buyer is better than messing up your business. Buyers will not leave any bad comments or reviews if you talk to them nicely and politely. They'll understand. It is good if you're able to handle your traffic accordingly, but this may be the time where your daily life and working life gets messed up. You may be unable to separate yourself into several parts for your work, family, or friends. You may even have no time for yourself. Here's a point to note. A successful person works with quality. If you know your business is great, on track, and doing well, you may choose buyers with the higher price offered. With all the good reviews and 5-star ratings, it is not that hard to get the deal. You can slow down your business by accepting higher paid jobs and outsourcing them to your freelancers. Thus, you can spare yourself some time to have a good meal and quality time with your friends and family. Remember, successful people do not work like a dog. They work smart. Finally, our section has come to an end. I hope you've learned something. Now, in this very last section, I will give some suggestions on tools that would enhance your brokering business and overcome some challenges you've encountered. I am sure you would want to know about techniques to ease up your management, right? When I say management, it is not just about brokering, but also includes your time management and social media management. As we all know, people nowadays do not carry their laptops everywhere. We are more likely to carry our phones and tablets when we go out. The reason is obvious. Not only is it for convenience, but it is also lighter to carry. So I'm going to suggest a few applications for iOS and Android users to smooth up the brokerage. Sound good to you? Let's get started. There are some basic applications that we all know. For example, Dropbox. Dropbox gives you 2 gigs of free cloud storage, and you can bump that up to 1 terabyte for $10 a month. Dropbox provides a wide range of features, including shared folders synced across multiple users and devices. Don't just send your clients your Fiverr seller's Dropbox link. Put the file in your own Dropbox and send them the link from your account. Besides that, you could also use Skype to communicate with your client or freelancer. Normally, people will not reject a phone call through Skype. It is essential for you if you manage to talk to your client and freelancer. The chances of knowing them are higher as compared to pure writing. When it comes to a billing issue, I would suggest you use Nutcash. It accepts credit cards and PayPal. It's free, easy, and painless to bill your client. The important thing is that it looks extremely professional. In order to look professional in gaining your client's trust, create a simple one-page website to show some of the samples you've sold, display what your business is about, and why are you the best for them. Trust me, it's more convincing to use your own professional-looking site instead of just a few lines of description. WordPress is a good platform to build a site for people to understand and read at ease. Remember to keep your site simple and nice. In addition, there are some free applications for phones and tablets that are useful to you too. However, an application like Mail Tracker is only available for iOS users. The biggest obstacles for projects to get completed can be when people refuse to read their emails, which is where Mail Tracker comes in handy. This helpful iOS app syncs with the iPhone's mailbox and can send you a detailed notification of when the other person reads a message, where they read it from, and etc. It is very convenient for you when you are checking the process with your freelancers. In this case, you can tell whether they are telling lies or whether they are really busy. In case you are a forgetful person, Pushbullet ensures that you never forget anything. The app syncs with your computer and can display all of your notifications from your phone right on the screen. Pushbullet can let you send files between devices, which can be immediately downloaded. So you would lessen the risk of missing any job review for your freelancer before you send it out to your client. The best thing about Pushbullet is that it's available on a variety of platforms, including iOS, Android, Chrome, and Firefox. If you prefer to buy an app with more features, here's my suggestion. When it comes to project management, Basecamp is one of the biggest names around. The service provides a centralized place for organizing and coordinating projects, allowing teams to create notes, lists, and schedules, upload files and plans, assign and manage tasks, and communicate with colleagues about progress on each individual element. In this case, it is easier for you to communicate with your freelancers on the progress. With the company's multi-platform approach, you can view and edit anything you need from any device you have handy. However, you'll need a Basecamp subscription, which is free for 60 days, that runs anywhere from $20 to $150 a month. It is available for iOS, Android, and also the web. Next is an app for you to keep yourself on track. Unfortunately, it is only available for iOS and Mac users. Clear is a simple and well-designed to-do list to help you stay on track. You can easily drag and reorder your to-dos, and adding a new item is as easy as pulling down your list and typing it in. When you're done with a task, just swipe right. Clear makes it easy to jot down a thing you need to do and pull it up on either your Mac, iPhone, or iPad, and it all syncs over iCloud. If you're really weak in planning and time management, this app will definitely give you some help. Finally, we have come to the very last part of the section. Here, I would like to talk about some social media managing apps that I have mentioned in the previous sections, which are Buffer and ManageFlitter. Buffer is a software application designed to manage social networks. Buffer allows users to schedule posts sent through the application to the user's social media accounts. This feature can schedule and send posts to Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, App.net, and Google+. There are various default time slots in the application, which are based on the times during the day when social media users are most active online. The free version of this app only allows 10 posts at a given time and only allows the management of one social media account per social media website. On the other side, there is a paid version of Buffer named Awesome that allows you to schedule 100 posts at any time and allows the management of up to 10 social media profiles. It is available for both iOS and Android users and also the web. On the other hand, ManageFlitter is a web-based application that assists Twitter users to gain insight into their Twitter account. ManageFlitter provides a set of tools that allows Twitter users to effectively curate, prune, and grow their Twitter account. In addition, ManageFlitter provides an easy way for users to integrate their Google+ account with their Twitter account. It also allows Twitter users to identify people who don't follow them or lack other desirable traits and subsequently unfollows them. ManageFlitter users can analyze their Twitter account data in a variety of ways with ManageFlitter.
In this tutorial, I'm going to run over 3 of the biggest advantages that an online business has over traditional brick-and-mortar companies. There is a reason that people are flocking to online businesses, given the freedom and convenience they can provide to those who are successful. Advantage number 1, cost. The first advantage is obvious. The fact that your business does not require a physical location is a massive benefit. With an online business, you just need to pay a fee for hosting and site development. On top of this, you don't have to apply for planning permission or pay $1 million to erect a building. This project would take years to complete and could potentially require a serious loan application, which can be very stressful for the applicant. With an online business, you can get started nearly straight away. The upfront costs of starting a physical business are huge compared to an online one. Additionally, the operational costs of running a physical outlet are far higher, typically involving employees, insurance, higher utility bills, and licenses. Advantage number 2, unlimited scalability. Online businesses offer unlimited scalability. With a traditional brick-and-mortar company, if you want to expand, you might need to get a loan and rent out new premises. This involves a lot of hassle, and it is a big move with significant risk involved. On the other hand, online businesses can scale far more easily. The website capacity can be extended to cater for more users, and they can carry out experiments on a smaller scale without breaking the bank. Because many online businesses offer digital products, it is possible to replicate these with little additional cost, meaning that scale is easier to achieve. Advantage number 3, convenience. Online sites are open 24/7. Regardless of whether the customer is in Australia or the USA, they always have access to your online storefront. The same cannot be said of a physical outlet, which may stay open 9 to 5. The online site can be accessed anywhere at any time. Online sites can also make easy use of digital nomads for a global workforce. This is not the case with typical retail outlets who can only access local talents. 3 reasons why you should start a YouTube channel. In this presentation, I'm going to explain why a YouTube channel is essential for any online enterprise. Video has a number of advantages, and YouTube is one of the most popular and well-known platforms out there. Not having a YouTube channel is a big mistake, given all the advantages that it offers. Number 1. People love video content. All of the latest research is demonstrating that people prefer video as opposed to written content. Video content is more likely to be clicked on, delivers more in a shorter time frame, has better ROI, and results in a more engaged customer. A short 2-minute video can say a lot more than a 1,000-word blog post. There is also a growing trend that customers are going to favor video more. According to Cisco, 82% of online content will be in the form of video by 2021. Setting up a YouTube channel now could be a great way to jump on this expanding trend. More than text is now necessary to reach your target audience. Number 2. The biggest video platform. Nearly every business now has a Facebook page, given there are so many users on that social media site. But YouTube is like the Facebook of video, as the biggest video streaming platform in the world. In short, it is the quickest way to reach the biggest audience. There are over 1.5 billion active YouTube users. Many of the top influencer marketers can be found on YouTube. They have a large say in determining the spending habits of newer generations, who tend to favor video content. Not only is YouTube the biggest video platform, but it is also one of the best, with new additions and innovations. Owned by Google, it is unlikely to go out of business. Number 3. Viral potential. Video content has a much better chance at going viral compared to written content. In fact, written content rarely goes viral. Viral content can greatly increase revenue if executed correctly. Videos picked up on YouTube are easily syndicated across other social media platforms, such as Facebook and Twitter. This is the best form of marketing, where others are voluntarily doing the work for you. While many business owners seem to have an aversion to video content, it is actually very easy to do, even with a basic setup. In this presentation, I'm going to highlight 5 top online business models to make use of immediately. The market has never been better for those who wish to take advantage of online enterprises and build the life of their dreams. There are a wide variety of online business models that can help to secure a high quality of life and long-term financial success. Incorporate one or a combination of these 5 models to create the life you want to have. Blogging. Blogging is one of the oldest online techniques, and it works. It takes a while for blogging to generate significant returns, but it can be extremely profitable when it finally starts to turn a profit. Identify as a subject matter expert and blog about your passion every day. The good work will pay off, and you can monetize the blog through affiliate links and paid advertising. YouTube. YouTube is a great way to reach an audience who resonate better with video compared to text. Video content also delivers a better return on investment compared to written content. Setting up a YouTube account is very easy to do, and this technique is underutilized by many business owners. Amazon FBA. Through the Amazon FBA, Fulfilled by Amazon service, business owners ship their physical products to Amazon and sell them through the platform. Amazon takes care of delivery, storage, and customer support. While this is an excellent model, Amazon does take a significant cut of the profits. There are other ways of selling physical products online, such as dropshipping or using third-party logistics companies. Online courses. It is possible to turn a massive profit by selling online courses through sites like Udemy. You can also sell such courses directly on your website. If you are skilled and talented, selling an online course might deliver a faster turnaround compared to blogging or building a following on YouTube. Freelancing. You can acquire business through marketing acumen and then complete the services by hiring high-quality freelancers. This can be an entire business model in itself. Alternatively, you can make use of freelancers to complete projects for your own business. This can be far more cost-effective than hiring permanent employees. Upwork is the biggest freelance site in the world with a large number of skilled freelancers available. In this tutorial, we are going to look at 5 of the best ways to promote your online business. While there are many marketing methods, you will have to select your model carefully and make it work for you. Every online business needs an efficient marketing campaign to promote their brand. Use Facebook ads. Facebook ads is a very effective way to promote your business. The vast majority of business owners now have a social media page, and there are paid advertising options available within platforms such as Facebook, including voice ads and sponsored stories. The power of social media can no longer be ignored. There are billions of active users on social networking sites such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is free to set up a page and reach out to an enormous global audience. Quora. Quora is a popular question and answer site. Users ask questions and then other users respond with their answers. The most popular answers typically get the highest number of upvotes. Quora is a fantastic platform to promote your business, and you can answer questions in relation to your field of work. Google Ads. Google paid advertising is a great way to get traffic to your site. The way it works is that advertisers bid on keywords with a maximum amount they are willing to pay for each click. Customers come to your site by clicking on the sponsored advertisement and then purchase the product. By understanding your conversion rate, you can set your maximum bid per keyword. Collaborations. Collaborations are when you join forces with other businesses. You can cross-promote each other's products and services, which will ensure mutual growth. For example, you could trade links on each other's blogs for an increase in traffic. This can be a quick way to increase traffic to your site, and there are a number of ways to collaborate. However, options are limited in social industries, as you don't want to promote your competitors. Meet face-to-face. Meeting face-to-face with people is still a great way to promote your business. Networking is still crucial to business success. This can be done at any time or place. Be sure to tell people about what you offer and have a business card on hand. Face-to-face meetups are the best form of marketing, though the audience is not as vast compared to online methods. 7 tips to create an online business around your lifestyle. In this presentation, I'm going to show you how to build your business around your lifestyle and not the other way around. Online businesses are possibly the only ones that really guarantee a fulfilling and flexible lifestyle compared to other business types. Number 1, have the end in mind. When creating your online business for maximum fulfillment, it is ideal to constantly visualize the end goal, whether it is an IPO or working 4 hours a week for the rest of your life. It is all too easy to get lost in the daily minutiae, but there are ways around this. Don't accept anything less than complete and utter freedom, and focus on it as often as you can. Number 2, outsource. You won't be able to get where you need to go without using the power of intelligent outsourcing. Outsourcing can make your business run so much more smoothly if you let it. Entire projects can be 100% outsourced to cheaper regions with the help of reputable agencies. Number 3, use freelancers. Every task you can think of can be completed with short-term freelance contracts. Freelancers are based in different time zones, so they can work on your project while you sleep in bed or relax on a beach. They are very important in helping you reach success. There is a growing mobile freelance workforce for all kinds of projects, from web development to digital marketing. Number 4, automation. Automation is like outsourcing in that it is often a cheap way to get tasks and projects completed. And there is an automation tool for nearly everything: accounting, social media, email marketing, PPC campaign, payroll, taxation, etc. For true freedom, automation tools are necessary. Number 5, delegate. While you are going to make heavy use of automation tools and outsourcing, it is important to have a few key personnel to rely on. Trust that others have the ability to run the business. Learning to delegate is an important skill that all new online owners need to learn. Number 6, choose your business model carefully. Some models are easier to run and more profitable than others. You want a business that is automated for success, where you are not tied down all the time. Timeless business models around the concepts of health, wealth, and love will always have a high retail value. Number 7, focus on what really matters. Small business owners do not have the time to manage every little detail of the company. They need to be very precise about what the business does and what the key metrics are. If you want to focus on every aspect of the company, then you won't have any time for yourself. Common pitfalls to avoid when starting an online business. In this tutorial, we are going to have a look at how to avoid some of the common pitfalls most new entrepreneurs run into when starting off. All too often, knowing what not to do can be as important as knowing what to do. Avoid some of these common traps to make sure your business gets off on the right start. Not setting goals. If you don't know where you're going, you won't get there. Goals help to keep people focused and on point. Make sure that your goals are smart and achievable. Break them up into mini tasks that you can complete daily. The goals can be big and far into the future, but they must be broken down into smaller components so that you can work at them on a daily, monthly, and weekly basis. Not embracing marketing. Sales and marketing are how traffic gets directed to your online business. Businesses do not exist without a good marketing strategy. Marketing methods can take many forms, such as social media, blogging, paid advertising campaigns, content marketing, YouTube marketing, email marketing, and more. There is a wide selection to choose from. The important thing is to launch a marketing strategy, track what works, and stick with it. Failing to budget. Many new online businesses do not budget properly. They can often either overspend or underspend, depending on the circumstances. An appropriate amount of money needs to be spent on the many different elements of the business: marketing, sales, site maintenance, employees, automation, outsourcing, product testing, etc. Blowing the whole budget on one area is a frequent mistake. Being unrealistic. While starting an online business is the best route to financial freedom, it is not a golden ticket to success. Like all new enterprises, the odds are stacked against you. You are going to have to work hard and sacrifice a lot in order to make your dreams a reality. Obstacles will arise, and you will have to deal with them. But it will make the success all the sweeter when you finally make it to the other side. Doing it all alone. You need partners when starting a business. Studies have shown that solo founders have a more difficult time than groups or partners. Even without a founding partner, it is important to connect with digital marketing agencies, financial specialists, development teams, and so forth to enhance your business. You need to leverage the power of others to make it through. In this tutorial, I'm going to teach you how to construct an entrepreneurial mindset for building your online business. A strong psychology is the primary component of success across all industries, so you need to put it first and foremost. Get clear about what you want. You need to have a personal statement and a company ethos that reflects the values of what you and your business is about. You will have clearly defined goals and expectations that will make your interactions with customers, employees, and business partners far easier. It is not possible to get what you want unless you are crystal clear about your goals and expectations. Vague demands will result in vague responses. Write it down and review it regularly. Have an open mind. The best entrepreneurs are not uncompromising, except about the fact that they will succeed at all costs. They are all capitalistic and innovative. If an opportunity comes along that will further their financial goals, then they will jump on it. As your business grows, you cannot cling to outdated thinking that is not relevant. If you refuse the things that can help your business develop, then your progress is going to be very slow. Be aggressive. Entrepreneurs are not timid or shy. They know what they want and they go for it. So you should find out what other people can deliver for you and don't be shy about getting the best deal. In the corporate world, timid people get walked all over. There is a reason that the best investors and poker players are called sharks. They don't bite all the time, but when they do, it's fatal. Learn to rely on others. You also need to let others do the brunt of the work by making use of freelancers, virtual assistants, and automation tools. These will free up your time so you can focus on the really important decisions. Entrepreneurs understand that they can't do it alone. They align with people who have a similar vision and passion. Trying to do everything by yourself is a quick route to ruin, and your energy levels will quickly burn out. How to outsource jobs online so you can free your time and grow your business. If you happen to have read The 4-Hour Workweek or similar titles from Tim Ferriss, you know it is possible to leverage the power of other people in order to work as little as possible. One of the benefits of owning an online business is that you don't actually need to hire long-term employees. You can outsource practically every job to a freelancer, which has multiple advantages. The virtual assistant. The first thing to understand is that all low-skilled jobs can be outsourced. Data entry, basic English content creation, text translation, and other simple tasks can be done by a freelancer for an incredibly low rate. The best way to do this is to look for a virtual assistant who can perform these very basic functions for you. They will be available on freelance sites such as Upwork or Freelancer for as little as $3 to $5 an hour. Email management, content scheduling, basic entry, link building, and other jobs can be easily performed. Skilled freelancers. Skilled freelancers are also available on the same sites, and you can find virtual assistants. They cost a little more, but you can again make use of regional cost differences to secure a bargain. For example, there are large numbers of skilled Indian, Chinese, and Russian developers who are quite proficient at web development for a reasonable price. Comparable developers in the West are nowhere near as affordable. You can analyze the score and get the past reviews of each virtual assistant or freelancer in order to decide whether or not you want to hire. If they don't deliver, you can always get a new one. Outsourcing agencies. For large and complex projects, there are agencies who can perform the entire job for a fraction of the cost. For software development, it has become quite common to outsource the entire project due to a shortage of skills in the industry. Hiring a full-time developer can be very costly. Brickwork India, for example, can handle large-scale projects such as admin, knowledge, and technical services. These include office support, management support, sales support, accounting software, SEO, PPC, reputation management, CRM solutions, web development, mobile application development, business research, and procurement consulting. Other large-scale outsourcing solutions are available for a cheap price, freeing up your time to focus on what truly matters. Whether you need a virtual assistant, a skilled freelancer, or an entire project, there are multiple options.
The biggest hassle with Fiverr. By this point, you're probably excited about Fiverr. In fact, you may be raring to go and put up an ad and see what you can make. Well, you might want to cool your heels for a little bit. How come? Well, here's the sad reality about Fiverr. Most money on Fiverr is made one way. What way is that? You sell your time for money. You may be thinking, what's so bad about this? Well, if that's what you wanted to do, you should have just gotten a job. Seriously, you should have just gone to monster.com or some other online jobs platform and hunted yourself down a job. The great thing about a regular job is that you are guaranteed a paycheck every 14 days. You don't have that assurance with freelancing. Also, most jobs in the United States have a medical and dental insurance plan as well as a 401k retirement plan. You don't have that with freelancing. Keep this in mind. Because if you're just going to be selling your time for money, maximize your return on effort by getting an actual regular job. Unless your hourly rate is $1,000 or more, it's just not going to cut it. There's no comparison if your focus is selling your time for money. What's the big problem with selling your time for money? There are several problems with this way of making money. First, you only have so much time to sell. Last time I checked, there are only 24 hours in a day. Well, if you're like most people, you at least need 6 of those hours to sleep and probably more. Also, there's only one of you. It would be great if you have an army of you out there so you can basically farm yourself out to work on all sorts of different freelance projects. You then get paid many times over. But unfortunately, there's only one of you with only 24 hours in a day. Traditional freelancing is also not very scalable. Once all your available time slots and production slots are taken up, you have to wait until you clear out some work for you to take on more clients. What do you think will happen if you told them to wait? Based on my experience, at least half of them will look elsewhere. And given how robust the Fiverr platform is, they don't have to look far, and they don't have to search long. It's too easy to get pigeonholed. Another problem with Fiverr freelancing is that it's too easy to feel that you're stuck offering one type of service in one particular type of context. It gets old quickly. It seems that all the amazing benefits of Fiverr are simply off limits to you. You quickly discover that it's basically hard work. Now, you may enjoy what you're doing, but if you get pigeonholed and you just offer one type of service, let's say you're a graphics artist and you design banners for people. Your skill set is not growing if that's all you're doing. If you're doing banners all day, every day, the improvements you can make as far as taking your skills to the next level is actually fairly restricted. On top of this, there's always a chance that someone will undercut your pricing. You have to understand that the vast majority of people on Fiverr either do not make any money at all or they make very little money. There are a lot of reasons why this is the case. Some people simply do a bad job and they get bad reviews. Other people charge too much money. You have to remember that the market has expectations based on the services you provide. If the going rate for banner design, for example, is $5, and I come along and put up my service for $25, chances are I won't get too many orders. I may get orders every once in a blue moon, but you can bet that they're not going to be repeat orders. For customers to come back, they must feel that they're getting a solid value. You can deliver on that value based on quality or price, but the problem is Fiverr tends to attract people who are drawn primarily by price. I know, it's rough. We can cry about it, we can definitely whine, but I doubt any of that is going to change the situation. That's just the way it is. The uncomfortable truth about making money off Fiverr. I don't mean to depress you. I definitely don't want to discourage you from using this amazing platform. It is amazing. It can make you money, but you have to use it the right way. If you use it the wrong way, it can easily become a race to the bottom. That's right. When you look at the pricing that you offer, make sure it's cut to the bone because you can bet that if there is any allowance for a decent profit, somebody will come in and offer a lower price. This is especially true when it comes to virtual assistants, data entry, and similar services. It is brutal. We're talking about people working for less and less money. It used to be that the low-cost service providers would come from Southeast Asia as well as South Asia, in places like Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, India, the Philippines, and Indonesia. Now, the action is shifted to Africa. If you think people from India were charging low rates, think again. That's why there really is cutthroat competition, and it's a race to the bottom in terms of pricing. It's not pretty. If you're going to be trading your time for money, you're going to have to accept the very real possibility that you're going to have to charge less and less money to stay competitive. Now, one way to compensate for this sad reality is to play up volume. You can cut your pricing to the bone so as to drive up volume. This sounds great, but the problem is there's only one of you. If you're like most people, you probably would want to spend some time with your family. You probably would want to read and spend some time on yourself and become a better person that way. Unfortunately, you can kiss goodbye to all that time because volume requires burning up tons of time. The bottom line, now that you have a big picture view of what Fiverr's promises are and what the perils of its reality are, I've got some great news for you. You don't have to play the Fiverr freelancing game to lose. There are 6 better ways to make money off Fiverr. Starting with the next video, you're going to learn everything there is to know about playing the Fiverr game the right way. I'm going to teach you how to play the Fiverr freelancing game to win.
In this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how you can build a blog based on your unique passion. Building a blog is not as easy as it once was, but it is definitely a path to success if you work at it. Get ready to work. The thing about blogs is that they take time to really take off. There are no real black hat tricks or techniques that you can use to generate an engaged and passionate audience that really likes what you have to say. You simply need to blog every single day. At the bare minimum, it will be a year before the blog earns a significant income, quite possibly even 2. You need drive, enthusiasm, and to be really committed to the long term in order for this to work. It takes a while for other blogs to link to you and for Google to give your blog the respect it deserves. On the other hand, blogs can be a great way to earn an affiliate income once you generate enough traffic on the site. Make sure you have a passion. Starting a blog based on your passion means that you must really like and understand the topic at hand. You must love the topic so much that you are a subject matter expert and are prepared to analyze and write about it every day. It does not really matter what it is, just that you are passionate about it. The wonderful thing about blogging is that you don't actually need a content plan for the next year. You just need to be able to write a 1,000-word blog post every day on the topic, and it will all fit together. If you have extreme passion, this should not be a problem. Engage with and understand your audiences. Audiences love interaction, especially if it's personalized. Respond to all comments and offer free ebooks and other gifts to your audience. This will build a loyal following who will tell others about your products and services. Consider surveys and questionnaires to gather feedback. It can also be a good idea to keep up to date with monetization and marketing trends. This will enable you to engage more effectively with your audience and optimize your site. In this presentation, I'm going to demonstrate how you can stay motivated while you create your business enterprise. A lack of motivation is something that all new business owners run into sooner or later, but there are established ways of dealing with it. Relax and de-stress. If you are finding it harder than you thought or the business is taking longer than expected to grow, then you might need to relax and come back to work with a different mindset. Business owners are not robots and cannot work all the time, even if some appear to do so. In fact, many successful business owners highlight the importance of regular rest and relaxation in order to be at their best. There is no need to burn yourself out. Just work consistently with appropriate levels of rest. You will get there in the end. Change and innovate. According to a study undertaken by the Startup Genome, businesses that change their business model once or twice have a far greater success rate compared to businesses that stick to the same one. Enterprises like Facebook, Amazon, and Google are changing all the time. These businesses are actually built on innovation. If the enterprise has expanded and you are sick of doing the same thing over and over, change the formula. Not only will it result in you getting a mental and emotional refreshment, but it could also potentially deliver a positive ROI. There is no shortage of new digital marketing techniques to experiment with. Brainstorm with your team or partners on how to expand and change. Back to basics. Remember why you started the business in the first place. Take stock of how far you've come and all you have put into the business. You could only be a few short years away from having the life of your dreams. It is always good to write out a personal mission statement outlining your goals. This should reaffirm to you why you started out in the beginning. If these goals are no longer relevant, you can change them.
6 better ways to make money off Fiverr. This video is an overview of the 6 different methods anybody can use to make real money off Fiverr. Let's get one thing clear. If you want to make chump change or beer money, Fiverr is the place to be. There are lots of graphics designers designing banners from time to time or ebook covers once a week who make enough money to buy beer on the weekends. However, if you have a family to support or if you want to make real money, you need to think big. You need to think outside of the traditional freelancing box. In other words, you have to decide on and commit to making money without trading in your time for money. At the very least, you're going to have to commit to and dedicate yourself to charging a lot more for your time. These are the two key elements that include all 6 of the methods I'm going to share with you in this training. Always keep your eyes fixed on the problem you're trying to solve, selling time for money. Method number 1, offer premium value-added services. Method number 2, bundle others' services and sell turnkey assets. Method number 3, bundle others' services and sell operational assets. Method number 4, buy services that help you buy resellable high-value assets. Method number 5, resell cheap Fiverr services at other higher-value locations. Method number 6, use Fiverr services to build your own assets. These 6 methods have varying requirements of time, focus, and capital. Regardless, if you use one, a few, or all of them, you can make quite a bit of money. A lot of this income can happen on autopilot. I know it sounds exciting. Well, let's jump in, starting with video 5. Offer premium value-added services. This way of making money off Fiverr actually involves you trading your time for money. Now, don't get upset. Don't finish this training just yet. Give me a chance to explain. The big difference is you pick higher premium services. This is the key. There are many services you can offer on Fiverr. Unfortunately, given the geographic distribution of service providers, you're going to get caught in a race to the bottom. That's right. There are people who are ready, willing, and eager to work 10 hours for $5. Are you willing to do that? If you're like most people who live in America or Western Europe, the answer should be a resounding no. After all, you value your time. If you just wanted to earn $5 for 10 hours of work, you probably would be doing something else. There are a million other things that you could be doing in your neck of the woods to earn far more money than $5. Let's not kid ourselves. However, that is always a possibility if you are careless regarding the service you offer. The first thing that you need to do is to pick higher premium services you can offer. If you type in a skill set or a service and it turns out that the average fee charged by the provider of that service on Fiverr is $100 or $200, then you may be onto something. Additionally, you can bundle many different tasks that you do yourself and you charge a premium. Here are some examples. If you want to just offer premium services and get paid more for every hour of actual work you do, then you should switch from SEO writing or regular website copywriting to higher value writing markets like technical writing, handbook writing for products, sales copywriting, or medical writing. Similarly, certain types of academic writing usually involving PhD dissertations pay a lot more money. You can also bundle services along with your main service. You're still offering writing services, but you would include a lot of add-on value. For example, you're offering SEO writing. Their client gives you a keyword and you write a 1,000-word article. Well, that kind of service is currently getting $5 on Fiverr. But you may get away with charging $10 or $15 for that same service if you add pictures to the text that you produce, format it so that it's more readable, and upload it to your client's WordPress website. Generally speaking, when people see add-on services put together in a bundle, they are more likely to pay extra. Advantages. There is really one advantage worth talking about here. You get a higher dollar value per unit of time and work you put in. You end up working less and earning more than the normal way of making money on Fiverr. Disadvantages. To offer premium services, you must first know how to perform such work. This requires mastery, expertise, credibility, and authority. In other words, you have to pay your dues. This is not something that you achieve overnight. I can't call myself an SEO expert after reading an online book or a couple of blog posts on SEO and then start offering that service on Fiverr. If I were to do that, people will see me for the fraud that I am, and I can only imagine what kind of reviews I'll get. It all boils down to results, and it takes quite a bit of time, effort, and focus to become an expert that delivers the kind of results the market demands. Are you willing to put in that time? Also, the higher value of the service, the more specialized it becomes. This increases the dollar value for that service. So far, so good, right? Well, here's the problem. This is basic economics. When the price of anything goes up, the demand usually goes down. That is the bottom line. People are always looking for cheaper alternatives. People are looking to break up expensive items into cheaper parts. There are all sorts of coping mechanisms to high prices. Your service is not immune to these. This might translate to limited demand. Now, this doesn't mean that this is the end of the world. If you were charging $200 per project, instead of getting a project every other day, you might get a project once a week. But if you were to add up all the orders that you get for that high-value service, you may actually still be making more money than if you were to offer a low-value service that is in higher demand. This is good news if you think about it. You work less, yet earn more money. What's not to love? Unfortunately, you have to be very careful regarding the niches of services you offer because some niches have such low demand that it's just not worth it regardless of how much money you charge. Another disadvantage to this Fiverr alternative is the need to build a brand or reputation. If you want to justify why you are charging $25 for something that other people charge $5 for, you'd better have a solid brand or reputation to back it up. As you can well imagine, it takes some time to develop such a reputation. You create a brand based on consistent quality. This takes time. Finally, there's always a chance that people will not buy from you if they see that you're offering a premium service on Fiverr. To these people, Fiverr is the kiss of death. These people have essentially written off Fiverr as far as quality goes. According to these individuals, when a service is listed on that platform, that service is no good. It's going to be almost impossible to persuade these people to buy from you regardless of the fact that you have a lot of testimonials and you are able to produce solid results. You're just going to have to live with this disadvantage. Unfortunately, depending on the niche of your service, the majority of people who might demand your service might think like this. Step-by-step directions. To offer value-added services, you need to take 3 steps. First, you need to figure out what your areas of expertise are. You have to write down all the things that you are good at. Please understand that these are things that you're actually good at. This means people compliment you or may have even paid you for this type of work. Of course, you did it as a favor, so the payment is basically a token. Regardless, there has to be some sort of objective indicator that people view you as an expert in a certain type of activity. This must be objective. This is not just your girlfriend telling you that you're a great writer. Of course, she says that even though she could barely read the stuff that you crank out because she doesn't want to hurt your feelings. That's not the kind of external validation I'm talking about. This has to be from people who would objectively say that you are a credible expert or an authority when it comes to this type of service. Look for those skills. Write them all down. Find high-value sub-niches or bundle small services you can do in your niche. Now that you have a list of things that you do reasonably well and that a lot of people praise you for, these services must already be listed on Fiverr. The next step is to look for sub-niches or specialized versions of those services. Research on Fiverr and see how much people are paying per service. You should have a clear understanding by this point of just how much your services are worth. Now you have to make a decision. Are you going to go ahead with this low-value service, or am I going to enhance its perceived value by doing other things that I would do myself? Again, going back to the writing example, if the only thing you can do reasonably well is to write SEO keyword articles, that's going to be the service you offer. However, this doesn't mean that you're going to offer that service for $5 just like everybody else. You can make things better for yourself by including additional services. You can say that you'll add pictures, you will format, you will add citations, you will interlink the stuff that you are producing with previous items on previous articles on your client's website, and you are also going to upload this material. All of a sudden, the service that you could have only charged $5 for per 1,000 words, you might be able to charge $15 or $20 for. The great thing about this is if you factor in all the additional services, they really don't add much time to the service. Most of the time is eaten up by the writing itself. This way, you actually increase the value of your time by including these add-on services. Create a package and get testimonials so as to convince people to buy your package. Bundle others' services and sell turnkey assets. What are turnkey assets? Turnkey assets are non-operational online assets like shells of websites, blogs with a small amount of content. The idea behind these sites is that the buyers of these sites have absolutely no clue how to put up a website. They don't know how to do it, or they don't want to know how. This is where you come in. You put in the time, effort, and energy to find specialists on Fiverr to put up a website. You pay them, and then you turn around and sell the starter website or low-content blog that they built for you. What are you really selling? Well, you're selling time, convenience, and most importantly, niche selection. You have to pick out the niche. You have to buy the domain name, and you have to customize the asset based on the niche. Those are the services that you are selling. Again, people would pay for this bundled service because either they don't have the expertise or they don't have the time to achieve that expertise. Advantages. This is probably one of the better ways to make more money selling other people's services. You're not selling your own labor. you are selling other people's labor. You also bundle different services together, so you leverage whatever is special in the services of others. This means that you get to play the owner of a sports team. Successful NBA professional basketball teams win championship after championship because the management knows how to cherry-pick the right talent. You can do the same on Fiverr. There are many highly talented and skilled people from many countries who do excellent work. You cherry-pick these people, so they work together to produce a website for you. Since your finished product is so vastly superior from digital assets created by just one person, you can charge a larger premium. Another great advantage to selling turnkey assets is the fact that the likely buyers of this type of bundle service tend to be professional buyers. Don't be surprised if the person who buys your website from you turns around and sells it to another person after your buyer pumps up the traffic, creates more content, and actually starts making money from the website you sold that person. They then take the website to the next level, and then they flip it for many times the price you charge them. That's how the game is played. What do you think will happen if that person is able to sell your pre-built turnkey asset for a lot of money? That's right. He or she will come back to you again and again and again. The bottom line here is simple. You are not selling your time directly. Sure, it takes time to play project manager and coordinate all these different Fiverr freelancers, but you're not doing the actual work. Your main work is basically finding a buyer. Disadvantages. The big disadvantage to this Fiverr monetization model is that you have to come up with the cash up front. You're going to have to pay your specialist up front. You're going to have to pay the person finding the domain name. You have to shell out some cash for the WordPress theme designer, as well as the person customizing it. You probably would also have to get somebody to produce content, as well as graphics. This can add up. The good news is, Fiverr is so cheap. Don't be surprised if it takes you all of $50 or a maximum of $75 to come up with an asset that you can turn around and possibly sell for $200, or if you really do your homework and are good at closing, $400. Another drawback to this model is that you need to pick the right niche, or your asset might not sell. This is a big one. If you pick a niche that has a fairly low demand or has very high standards, you're probably not going to sell the asset that you have built. While it's true that you can mark up the amount of money you paid the service providers to produce the asset, you still have to sell many of these assets to make real money. The average American needs to make around $5,000 just to achieve average income. This means that if you are turning around and flipping assets using Fiverr labor and your average is $200 a website, you need to move 25 of these sites. Now, that might seem like a low number, but you're basically going to have to give yourself a quota of selling one website pretty much every single day. That's quite a tall order. Another weakness of this business model is its focus on customization. You have to customize the asset each and every time. You cannot resell the same asset over and over again. You're not selling private label rights, PLR material here. The reason why you are able to charge a premium is because this is custom work. This brings up another disadvantage. Since you are dealing with custom work, there's no assurance that the people you hire to get work done on Fiverr will produce the same quality the next time around. This can ruin your reputation. You might have a repeat customer who is expecting the same high quality as the site that you just sold him or her, and it turns out that your service provider simply got lazy or just barely put in any effort and they produced crap. Not only would you fail to make a sale with your repeat customer, but that person will probably not come back. Finally, one of the most common ways you can sell turnkey assets is to list it on Flippa. Depending on your niche, your listed asset may not sell the first time you list it. This means that you have to relist it again and again. Unfortunately, you have to pay for each listing on Flippa, and these listing costs can cut into your profits. It's not unusual for people to get so desperate about unloading an asset that they price it so low, and when you factor in their Flippa listing fees, they actually lose money. Step-by-step directions. Step 1. Find turnkey assets that sell quickly at decent pricing on Flippa. Essentially, you're going to reverse engineer what already works on Flippa. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. Go to flippa.com and look for websites for sale. These are websites that are not operational and are totally brand new. Look at the different niches that are selling. This is very important. Do not look at stuff that hasn't sold yet. Look at auctions that have successfully closed. Pay attention to the niche and the price. A pattern should emerge. Focus on niches that command really high prices. Now, don't get excited. Just because you found an auction where a totally brand new site sold for $2,000 doesn't mean that you should rush out there and start building a similar site. Pay close attention to similar websites on Flippa. Does this type of website sell quite a bit every month, or is this a once-in-a-blue-moon kind of thing? Your job is to look for a niche that sells frequently on Flippa at a high enough price. Step 2. Find service providers on Fiverr that can be used to build your asset. Now that you have a clear idea of the turnkey sites that sell well on Flippa, break down the kinds of services needed to build such an asset. If you're selling websites, you obviously need a WordPress theme designer, a WordPress developer, which includes installation, content, graphics, and you also need a person to find the domain. Put all these together so you can have a list of services for which you would look for contractors. Next, you go to Fiverr and buy strategically. Step 3. Buy several gigs to build the asset. This seems pretty straightforward, but it's actually more complicated than that. Remember, you're building a custom asset. This means that you are building something of quality. This is not stuff that you're just blowing through. This is not just stuff that you're trying to zip through and build as quickly and as cheaply as possible. Believe me, if you do things that way, it's going to show, and people looking to buy your asset probably won't because they have seen better quality. Do not compromise quality. The good news with Fiverr is that there are so many service providers there that you can pay very little to get very high quality. Do that. Step 4. Sell your turnkey asset on Flippa. This is pretty straightforward. List the turnkey asset that you have built and sell it on Flippa. Ideally, you should have the website ready for transfer on your server. It should have its own dedicated domain name. Make it easy for you to transfer digital assets on your server. Coordinate with the technical support people at your host to ensure that the assets that you plan on selling are very easy to move. List your asset on Flippa. Now, don't get excited. I know you've done your research, and I know that the chances of this thing selling the first time you list it are quite high. However, be ready for the possibility that you may have to relist this item several times before you can move it. Factor the costs, as well as the value of the time you spend relisting it into the final price of the asset. Bundle others' services and sell operational assets. This way of making money off Fiverr is really not much different from the method I have described in video 6. The big difference, and in most cases the only difference, is that this website is operational. And what does that mean? It means that this website is generating traffic and is turning that traffic into dollars. In other words, it's actually generating an income. Advantages. The big advantage of this type of Fiverr service, flipping, is the money. That's right. With everything else being equal, people would rather pay more money for an online asset that already generates money. You may have designed a very good-looking online asset. Your turnkey website may look really good. The problem is, it's anybody's guess whether it can actually translate visitors into cash. You don't have any of that kind of uncertainty with an operational asset. You know that this thing works. You know that if you buy this asset, you will make money. Given enough time, this asset will produce enough money to cover the cash you spent to buy it in the first place. Given even more time, you make pure profit. That's how this type of asset works. It's no surprise that a lot of online investors in online properties would rather buy operational assets. You stand to get more money building this type of asset than a turnkey asset. After all, people are willing to pay a big premium for an asset that is already generating traffic and cash. This is a big deal because if you establish a track record of building and selling money-making websites, your reputation becomes golden. People will seek you out as the person they can buy assets from that guarantee income. Very few people can do that. If you're able to do that, then you are going to be able to charge a lot more money than turnkey site creators. If your properties consistently make money, you can even charge a bigger premium than other people who build similar types of websites. The big advantage here for buyers is the fact that you save your customers from the headaches of picking out a profitable niche, positioning an online entity, building a brand, building traffic, crafting the right content, and converting traffic into cash. Those are big problems. You will know this firsthand if you ever try building any kind of website or platform. It's not easy. The big value that you bring to the table is that you solve these problems for your clients. They get an actual working business. Disadvantages. The big disadvantage to this business model is that you have to spend cash up front. Again, just like the business model I've described in video 6, this is a cash upfront model because you're hiring people to build the asset. Unfortunately, your spending doesn't stop there. You probably have to buy traffic if you're not generating it organically. You're also going to be spending a lot of time to fine-tune and tweak the website so it performs optimally as far as making money is concerned. You're going to have to charge money for that time. Unfortunately, this is uncertain because it's anybody's guess when, if ever, this website actually starts converting traffic into cash. Another big disadvantage is that you are very vulnerable to niche selection. You have to pick the right niche. Otherwise, the ROI simply isn't going to be there. This means time because you're going to have to research the right niche. Market demands do fluctuate over time. A potentially fatal problem with this model is that you can't just assume that since this type of website asset has historically sold on Flippa, that you only need to show up at Flippa, list the asset, and then collect your money. It may not work out that way. It may turn out that for whatever reason, people are not buying this type of website on Flippa anymore. If that's the case, then you might have to sell on your own. By that point, all bets are off as to whether you can unload this asset or if you're going to have to discount it heavily just to move it. Finally, even if you are able to find a buyer, you can still suffer headaches. How come? Well, you turn over the website to somebody and it turns out that their traffic drops like a rock. It turns out that they're no longer able to convert the traffic into cash. This happens quite a bit. If this happens, then your reputation goes down the toilet. You may be thinking, well, that's just my online reputation. Think again. If word gets around that you are selling assets that stop working after a while, people are going to stop buying assets from you. That's the bottom line. Bad news. Step-by-step directions. Step 1. Pick successful niche sites with decent competition levels. Just go to Flippa. Figure out what sells. Make sure that you have decent competition. What do I mean by decent competition? I'm talking about competition that is not so crushing and so numerous that you really don't have a chance. There has to be enough of this type of site selling, but the potential sources or competitors on Flippa should not be so numerous that getting into this is just not worth your time. Step 2. Reverse engineer these niche sites using Fiverr gig service providers. This is pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. See video 6 on what is involved. Step 3. Use Fiverr to get content and traffic. This is what's different between this business model and the one that I described in video 6. In video 6, you just use all sorts of service providers to build the asset and content. That's it. You're not pumping it with content, nor are you getting traffic. In this business model, you're going to use Fiverr to get traffic. Here is a little bit of a caveat. There are a lot of scammers on Fiverr. There are a lot of people who would not hesitate to take your money in exchange for imaginary traffic. Do yourself a big favor. Look at the ratings of these people and be willing to pay a little bit extra for real traffic. If you play your cards right, you will be able to find service providers that would pump a real American or Western European traffic to your website, which can convert well and translate into a decent monthly income for the asset. Keep it up for a few months and then flip the site. Step 4. Fine-tune your website. If you really want to make money with your website, sell it when it's time. What do I mean by that? Fine-tune conversions and traffic generation and keep scaling up the income of your site until you can fetch a handsome price for your asset. Sure, you can turn around and sell the moment your website made $100 a month, but let me tell you, people would probably not pay more than $500 to possible $1,000 for your asset. There is a multiplier effect going on here. If your asset is making $100 a month and the multiplier for the bidders for your site ranges from 5 to 10, then expect anywhere from $500 to $1,000. You see how this works? Accordingly, fine-tune your conversions and traffic generation and keep scaling them up until your monthly income from the specific asset is high enough for you to get a very decent price. It all depends on what is comfortable for you. It also depends on how quickly you need the money. Buy services that help you buy resellable high-value assets. This business model involves you looking for services on Fiverr that involve researching or finding digital assets. These assets take many different forms. There are people on Fiverr that use all sorts of sophisticated software to quickly find domain names. You can then buy these services to get a list of those domain names that you could possibly buy. Buy some, and then try to flip them. Similarly, there are service providers on Fiverr that can help you find leads. For example, if you're looking for yoga instructors in Los Angeles, there are virtual assistants who can look up those people. They can get a name, an address, a specialization, and contact details. They can even find social media accounts. You bundle all that information, then you sell it to people who are looking to reach those prospects. Do you see how this works? This is one of the least known ways to make money on Fiverr. If you know what you're doing, you can actually stand to make a lot more money using this technique than most of the other techniques I shared in this training. Advantages. A lot of the services that go into finding and analyzing potential digital assets are actually cheap on Fiverr. We're talking about $5. How come? A lot of these service providers don't do it by hand. They don't have the time to do it by hand. Plus, they're too smart for that. They use software. Some of them have special coded software that they built themselves or they hired somebody to do it for them. Others use off-the-shelf software. Regardless of the tool that they use, you benefit because you buy their services at a low price. Next, you can buy these services to compile an asset. For example, you hire somebody to find a certain type of doctor in a certain city in the United States. You can then take that information and sell it many times over. You pay for the asset once, but you can sell it again and again. Another advantage you get with this business model is that depending on the asset, you can actually charge quite a bit of money. Let's get one thing clear. If somebody just wants you to find all the doctors who offer their services in the greater Los Angeles, California area, you probably won't be able to charge too much money. There's probably a lot of lists out there, In fact, a lot of them are free. What makes your list so special? Now, if you come up with a list of specialist doctors who are looking to buy an MRI machine because they have bought a related machine in the not-so-distant past, that list that you have can be gold. You can sell it to an MRI sales company or companies related to MRI. Do you see the big picture here? Good. It's quite lucrative. Finally, you sell assets with this service. For example, you hire people to find specialized domain names. Those are assets. This is very different from leads. Leads are those who can resell many times over, but are not assets. Disadvantages. The big drawback to this is the fact that it costs money up front. People finding assets for you or digging up information for you will not do it for free. No chance. You have to pay up front. Next, you have to pick the right assets to sell. Otherwise, you'll have many assets that won't sell enough to cover your costs. Again, going back to the doctor example, you might think that people will pay good money for a pure list of doctors from a specific geographic area. Think again. Those lead lists are probably all over the place. Why should they pay you money? You have to find specialized information. The same applies to domain names. You have to pick the right type of domain name that has existing demand. Otherwise, people are not going to pay that much money for it, assuming they buy it at all. The next disadvantage is that reselling domains means buying the service to find it, analyze it, and then spending more money to buy the domain. In other words, you're paying many times over. Wait, it doesn't stop there. Just because you bought the domain doesn't necessarily mean that you can automatically flip it. A lot of times, people who buy digital assets like domains have to hang on to it for several months or even several years for it to be worth quite a bit of money. There's a lot of opportunity costs involved. This is not a slam dunk. Finally, if you're using Fiverr services to find data that you can turn around and sell, please understand that you just can't advertise online and people would line up to buy that data. Chances are high that you have to do direct outreach. This may mean that you would have to hire a virtual assistant to research businesses that may be interested in the data that you're selling and reach out to them. If you are extra proactive, you might want to hire call centers in places like the Philippines and India who do outbound sales. Basically, you'll just give them a pitch and phone numbers to call, and they'll take care of everything else. Usually when an actual human being makes the outreach and gets a voice-to-voice connection, your chances of unloading your digital assets go up quite a bit. You're also able to charge a lot more money, but again, this is not a slam dunk. You have to have data assets that people would actually want to buy. It's anybody's guess if you have those kinds of assets, so you need to do your research first. Step-by-step directions. Step number 1, decide on what resellable asset you want to specialize in. Step number 2, formulate tightly defined research and production steps. This is extremely important. You cannot let your Fiverr freelancer do creative thinking for you. They work best when you have a preset list of decisions and analytical points for them to follow. They just need to go step by step to get the desired result. The less surprises, uncertainties, and discretion involved in the process, the better. Step number 3, contact top-notch researchers on Fiverr. Basically, you look for the type of services that are required to find this type of information or asset. The next thing is to look at the different researchers available. Look at their ranking, testimonials, and what people say about them. At this point, it's not a good idea to go cheap. Don't look for the lowest price service provider. Instead, look for somebody who is worth the money. Sure, you may pay a little bit more. However, if your results are solid and you have a high chance of reselling that data or finding the right asset, then you have struck gold. Step number 4, get the asset compiled. I'm talking primarily about data assets here. Step number 5, reach out and sell. This is the most important part. Seriously, the previous 4 steps are nothing compared to this step. If you get this right, you will make quite a bit of money. If you get this wrong, you're going to be sitting on an asset that is practically worthless. It only has potential value, but that's the best you can hope for. Potential. To turn that potential into cold, hard cash in your bank account, you have to reach out and sell. Again, Fiverr comes in handy. If you are too shy, or you don't have the time, or you simply can't be bothered to do this, there are virtual assistants on Fiverr. If you're looking for specialized services at their cheap prices, go to cognoplus.com. Regardless of how you do it, you need to have other people find your prospective buyers, get in touch with them, open the sale, and then you come in and try to close the sale. If the assets that you have gotten using this business model involve domain names, then you can place those domain names on auction websites like FlipUp. Resell cheap Fiverr services at other high-value locations. The name of the game here is information differential or information imbalance. It's easy to get the impression that if you see news on one website, then people that visit another website will automatically know the news. After all, the internet is just a giant spider web, if you will, of links. The data that you can find on one place can also be found or accessed from another place sooner or later. Well, this is too much of an assumption to make. It turns out that in certain situations and regarding certain types of data, data actually travels slowly. This is a money-making opportunity for you. While a lot of people know about Fiverr and they know that they can buy services starting at $5, not everybody knows this. Even if people have heard of Fiverr, not everybody has actually used Fiverr. Again, this is an opportunity. You only need to find other websites on the internet like Facebook pages, Facebook groups, message boards, forums, and other places people post information. Some of these places have a marketplace. This is where community members offer to either buy services, offer services for sale, or do a little bit of both. Once you find these places, sell Fiverr services on them. Of course, when they click on the link, they go to your website, but you're actually just reselling Fiverr services. You're not offering the services yourself. Again, the operative principle here is to buy low and sell high. You buy low on Fiverr, and you sell high on these other places. Advantages. The big advantage here is that you get to mark up Fiverr services. It's not unusual for people who buy something for $20 on Fiverr to turn around and sell it for $200 to $500 on their own website. Not too shabby. Another big advantage is that you get to offer the best service provider. You have to remember that there are a lot of service providers on Fiverr. There are a lot of people from all over the world offering a wide range of services. Not all of them are good. Some of them, however, are experts. They are the top of their field. What you can do is you can offer the best service providers from Fiverr. Sure, they sell at a higher price, but you can always mark it up. This way, you can resell only the very best and leave the garbage behind. Finally, the biggest advantage of this business model is you name your markup. If you think you can get away with 100% markup, go for it. If you think that 500% profit is possible, and probably take advantage of it. You have full freedom because you're advertising on third-party sites. But when people click a link, they don't go to Fiverr, they go to your site. This is where you advertise services that you turn around and buy from the best-of-breed service providers on Fiverr. Disadvantages. The big disadvantage with offering best-of-breed service providers is that those people can disappear. I know this firsthand because I used to get really awesome Kindle book covers from this person who cranks out one best-selling cover after another. I thought I would always come back to this person until I learned my lesson the hard way. For 4 straight months, he was unresponsive. It's as if he fell off the face of the earth. These suppliers are all over the place on Fiverr. In fact, there is a rule of thumb. The more competent the service provider and the more of an expert he or she is, the flakier that person is. We don't like flakes. Nobody should. But unfortunately, they're part of the mix. This is the risk that you run. Do yourself a big favor. Find an alternative. This means that you have a backup or two. For example, you're offering graphic services and you normally turn around and buy Michelangelo's services. If for whatever reason he flakes out, you can always tap Raphael or Leonardo so you can cover your assets. Another key disadvantage is that the quality might be spotty from time to time. If this happens, your reputation may suffer. Remember, you're charging a fat premium for this service. You are riding on somebody else's expertise. What if that person gets sloppy or lazy? Let's face it, this happens to the very best of us. Again, this is where having a backup comes in. If your main go-to person delivers garbage, all of a sudden, you can at least quickly pivot and order from the next expert and come up with something decent. Another drawback to this business model is that many markets are increasingly sophisticated. Don't think that the people you're selling to are idiots. Don't think that they are completely wet behind the ears and they haven't heard of Fiverr. If they haven't heard of it, they will hear about it soon enough. Now, some people simply don't care. Some people may realize that you're just flipping services, and guess what? They don't care. Why? Their time is very valuable to them. They have other bigger fish to fry. Other people can take this very personally. They don't like to feel that they've been taken advantage of. They can see right through your system. It's obvious to them that you're just flipping services by buying low and selling high. These people are probably not your intended buyers anyway. Chances are, if they're that paranoid, cynical, and skeptical, they probably wouldn't have bought from you. If they did, they probably would have turned around and asked for a refund. It's a good idea to be discreet. Don't be obvious about it. However, at the end of the day, haters are going to hate. That's just part of the game. Another drawback is people often will only pay you a very fat premium. I'm talking about over 200% or 300% if you have a solid brand. This means that you have a long list of people who are happy with your reselling activities. These are people who really get a lot of value from what you're doing. That is hard enough because you're going to have to perform really well for an extended period of time. You also have to have a solid reseller site. You can't just go to Blogspot, Weebly, or Wix and scrape together a very basic site. People are going to equate the low quality of your site with the quality of the services you are reselling. This means that you're going to have to step up the amount of money you pay upfront for this business. You have to pay solid money to a developer and designer on Fiverr to create an authoritative and expert-looking reseller website. Finally, you have to get traffic to your reseller website. This means that you have to go to forums, message boards, Facebook groups, and pages that already actively resell the Fiverr services you are reselling. Go there. Get people excited. Post your offer, and when they click, they'd go to your reseller website. Step-by-step directions. Step number 1, find places to resell on. This is very important. Make sure to create a list of all sorts of places where people are selling services. Again, this may be Facebook groups, pages, message boards, or forums. Once you have found these places and looked at the services, pay close attention to the prices being charged. If you notice that a certain type of service tends to fetch a fairly high price across many different sellers and across many different times, chances are good that people who visit this place pay a premium for those who offer that type of service. Step number 2, find providers of your target service on Fiverr and hold an audition. By hold an audition, I'm not talking about getting people to try out for free. I'm talking about paying for these wide range of people's services. Again, this is going to drive up your cost, but you need to pay this money so you can see who actually walks their talk. You're going to have to pay to figure out who's the real deal. Again, you're trying to offer best-of-breed service providers. You're not just reselling some random rookie's output. Step number 3, build your reseller website. As I've mentioned before, you're going to have to spend real money to put together a high-quality reseller site. From the outside looking in, it shouldn't be apparent that you're just turning around and reselling Fiverr services. From the perspective of outsiders who know nothing about you and your service, you should look like an established, credible, authoritative, and trustworthy business. Step number 4, present case studies. People are not going to buy from you if you just tell them that you're the best thing since sliced bread. Things don't work that way. People are going to say, show me. The best way to do this is through case studies. This means that you're going to hire many different service providers on Fiverr and then give them the same project. You then take the results of the project and pick out the very best provider. You can use those results as your case studies. This way, you showcase to people that you can actually get the job done. Also, you may want to offer your resold services for absolutely free in exchange for a testimonial. Personally, I prefer video testimonials. Run the service for free for clients so you end up paying for this service to the provider on Fiverr and then showcase the positive results. Obviously, leave out any failed results. Step number 5, do outreach. I wish I could tell you that you just need to post an ad on forums, message boards, Facebook groups, and pages. It doesn't work that way. You definitely need to do these, but you also have to do outreach. This means that you're going to have to contact digital marketing agencies and other organizations that normally order the type of service that you are offering.